Let me see. Can I put this thing all the way up in here so that I could relax a little bit? I think I can. I think I can. So here's what happened, bro. Let me make sure the mic's working. Yeah, it's working. Everything's on. I should probably have some headphones in or whatever so that I can hear myself. It is what it is. Who cares? I mean, it's not what it is. Because it obviously does matter. Right? But I'm pretty sure you guys could hear me. So it's good. Let me see. This is about... Yeah, I mean, that's not far away. It sounds like... I feel like you guys should hear me. So... I made an entire episode talking about... everything under the sun, and it's kind of hot in here. Okay, I made an entire episode talking about everything under the sun, talking about, how far away is that? I don't know. Talking about Charlie Kirk. Well, I made an entire episode talking about the Whatever podcast. Whatever. The camera wanted to jack up and didn't film it correctly. Of course it did, because it's just some stupid BS, just more stupid bull that you shouldn't have to worry about. You know what I mean? But whatever. Made a whole nother episode talking about Charlie Kirk. The video footage was better, but it's probably still not what I would consider to be like pristine or anything. But whatever. So, I mean, anyways, what I was trying to say about the Whatever podcast, bro... Maybe I'll just take the audio out of it. But what I was saying, bro, is that like the Whatever podcast, a lot of people love it. A lot of people hate it. Can you hear me here? I probably sound crazier. A lot of people love the Whatever podcast. A lot of people hate it. Look at my notes, bro. They're all destroyed. It's crazy. I put them in my pocket. They came out. They're destroyed. Whatever. It is what it is. Where's my pen? It should be somewhere. Basically, I was saying... about the Whatever podcast, that like I've been binge watching the crap out of it here lately, and I just talked about how a lot of people call it, what the heck is that? A lot of people call it red pill, what do they say? Red pill rage bait. Like there was this girl on there, she said, it's just a bunch of red pill rage bait, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay. And he was like, what is red pill rage bait actually? Yeah, exactly. What is red pill rage bait? You know, I don't think it's rage bait if the person actually believes what they're saying, right? The objective isn't to get you angry. The objective is that I'm telling the truth and you just have a hard time accepting the fact that there's people that actually believe that. Oh my goodness gracious. But while I was watching the Whatever podcast, right? I'm a high-value alpha male. Why would I want to be with a 35-year-old whore who slept through 1,000 people and now has 17 kids perpetuated by 5 people? Why would I want to do that? Why would I? You could never date a high-value male like me. Someone like you is obviously going to die alone. You stupid whore. You could never date someone like me. You've been ran through. Why would I not pick a 23-year-old that's younger than you who has no kids and has not been ran through? Obviously. It doesn't make any sense. Right? That's what men tend to say on the Whatever podcast. It's not a criticism. I'm just telling you. Like, it's more of a parody. It's a joke. But anyways... So, but some of the women on there, they're pretty crazy though, ain't they? Right? Like here's some things I wrote down from. Here's some things I wrote down from just a few of these episodes I've been binge watching here. What we got here? Number 1. A girl claimed that men should have sex with more men. That's what she said. And you could go on there. You could probably go on there and see, go through the clips. You'll probably find it. Like, she claims, well, what I've really learned about society is like whatever, some stupid college she went to. She went some stupid college where they stupidly indoctrinate people with their stupid bull narratives. And she goes on there and she takes whatever she called it. She had a name for it. You know, they had an official degree for whatever it's called, an official degree for these people. And they called it something or other, gender studies or something like that. I don't even know that it was gender studies specifically. I don't know if that was the exact class that she took, gender studies specifically, but it was something like that though. Something to those extents, something to those metrics, gender studies, where she said, we learned a whole lot. I remember what it was, something like called like sexuality of peoples or something like that. Like apparently there's a whole class in college now that's completely dedicated to learning the history of sexualities in between peoples in the history of the world. Or whatever it is. Yeah, this is better. The history of sexualities in the world. Apparently, that's a thing. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that there was a class completely dedicated to learning the sexuality of peoples throughout human civilization. I kind of felt like that was something that people did in their free time, and that's not really something that we should be learning or spending $80,000 to $120,000 in college debt to be learning about. That seems a little freaking ridiculous to me, man. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, but okay. And apparently, in this sexuality class, what she learned, the great thing that the great conclusion that she came to, one of the greatest theories that they taught at this class for sexuality was that, and this is what she said, I learned that men should be having sex with more men. Honestly, that's what I learned. You're like, what? Hold up, everybody stop for a second. What did this girl just say? She said that men should have more sex with men. She said that the reason, and just some stupid nonsense narrative about hyper-feminism and the patriarchy. And the patriarchy is because a lot of men, straight white males, of course, just do not understand what it's like to be gay. They don't understand what it's like to be a homosexual. So if more straight white men were having sex with men, then they would be able to understand the fact of where homosexuals come from, and they wouldn't be such bigots anymore. They wouldn't be bigots. Basically, essentially, that's what she's saying, right? Like, oh my God. Like, oh my God. Come on now. You people are crazy. You people are insane. Men aren't having sex with enough men. Yeah, spoken like a true homosexual. Yeah, spoken like a true LGBTQ homosexual advocate, right? Spoken like a true far left woke radical nutcase that believes that if you don't have sex with men, it's because you're homophobic. That if you don't date men that transition from women that are now men, it's because you're a transphobic, right? That's where that's coming from, right? Those exact people. That's exactly where that narrative is coming from, right? Oh my God. No, we like women over here, bro. I don't know if you've ever seen a woman before, but they're really beautiful. They're really attractive. You ever met one of those before? They got, maybe not you, maybe not yourself, but typically they have like long hair and it's like beautiful and flowing through the wind, and then they have nice, beautiful eyes and rounded and well put together faces and soft skin and giant breasts and giant backsides and hourglass curves for days, and you really just can't stop getting enough of them. You know what I mean? So no, over here, I don't think the problem is that that men aren't having sex with enough men. I think the problem is that women like you don't know about the first thing that ever goes through the mind of a man, right? People are crazy. Men aren't having enough sex with men. That's what it is. Yeah. And what she means by that is men aren't having enough sex with her. Men aren't having enough sex with hyper-feministic trolls that don't shave any of their body hair and walk around for weeks without taking showers because they're trying to be naturalist herbs into nature, and they're porn stars. Men in the real world aren't having enough sex with her. So her conclusion is that they must all secretly be gay. I mean, who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want to be with an attractive woman like that? Who wouldn't want to marry an Amazon woman? Who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want to start a family with a girl with an OnlyFans model that's doing who knows what? Yeah, obviously the absolute conclusion, obviously I get now, it has to be that they're gay. All the men just keep rejecting me because they're gay. You know what I mean? It's like these women when you go to the bar. Have you ever met some of these women? I'm sure you have. Maybe if you're a beta male, you haven't, but if you're an alpha male like myself, then I'm sure you've run into quite a few women at bars or clubs or wherever it may be that will not get off of you for whatever reason it is under the sun. They will not leave you alone, right? They grind up against you. They walk past you. They basically low-key are sexually harassing you. Their hands are grabbing towards your pants. They're grabbing towards your crotch area. They're shoving their backside all over you. They're trying to grind on you. You didn't ask for it. It's unprecedented. Totally sexual harassment. And then you act like you're uninterested. And then the very first thing that they say, well, he must be gay or something. You don't like women? Yeah, you're not a real man. Can't handle this. That's what it is. No, honey. The problem is that you are a narcissist. Okay, lady. The problem is that you have faced not enough you have so much self-rejection issues, and that you can't accept yourself for who you personally are, to the point where you're filled with so much insecurity that you have to perpetuate an entire false narrative about every single man on the face of the earth that does not want to have sex with you. Well, I am not responsible. We are not responsible for making you feel like you're loved, valued, and appreciated, okay? Go talk to your therapist or your husband or your parents or whoever is in charge of that for you, your girlfriends or whatever they are, okay? Just because you're a narcissistic sociopath that thinks that it's okay to sexually harass men and then be confused when they're not interested in you because you're 500 pounds overweight or you're a hyper-feministic slob or whatever it may be, and does not mean that we're all a bunch of homosexuals. Okay, tends to be that the common denominator is you, right? You yourself and yourself tend to be the common denominator. You know, one of these things just doesn't belong here. Usually, if that happens to you on a regular basis, it's probably because there's something wrong with the person that's constantly grinding up against random strangers trying to get attention because she can't find anybody. Okay, that's what it is. Oh my goodness. Oh, so you don't think that women should be grinding on you? You're just mad because you can't get no women? Is that what it is? And then you go over there and you have like a 12 out of 10, like a model. No over-exaggeration. And then they see you with her and then the heartbreak comes over their eyes, Heartbreak Hotel, and they start looking, oh my God, now I'm having to be faced with the facts and reality that he just really wasn't interested in me because of who I am as a person. God, would you look at yourself, fix yourself? You're so desperate. Why are you so obsessed with me and everybody knows? Why are you so obsessed with me? Last one on the earth still couldn't get this. I don't want no scrubs hanging out the passenger side of the best friend's ride trying to holler at me. No, I don't think so. No scrubs. You're a female scrub. We don't want no scrubs. No, the actual attractive women out there who don't sexually harass men and don't think that you're gay if you don't want them, and actually treat you with respect. That's probably why we're seen with them, right? And they're also hot. So, I mean, it's just the way it works, I guess. I don't know. 12 out of 12's in and out, and the looks end in the... They're better than you inside and out. They're like Richie Rich. They look better than you and inside. Their personalities are better. Oh, my... It's so sad for you. It's a terrible insult, but it's the truth. I don't know what to tell you. It's crazy. And so... What I also thought was really interesting, right? These people are crazy, man. Is that they started to talk about incestual relationships. There was this debate, man. You need to go back and watch it. Okay? This guy, what's his name on there? On the Whatever podcast. It just happened. It just came out not too long ago. And like I've said, I've always watched clips from time to time, but never really watched the show as a whole all the time. I've seen clips. But here, for whatever reason, over the past week or so, I've just been binge watching the crap out of episodes. It's just hilarious stuff that comes on here, man. It's crazy. And what's his name? I think it's Andrew. That guy. And ain't he like a pastor or something? I don't know. Like, now, I will say this. I'm not the biggest fan of Andrew, right? I think Andrew, I could see why a lot of people would be annoyed by Andrew. So listen, I'm just saying, look, Andrew, I don't hate you, bro. I don't despise you or anything, but it's just like some of your viewpoints I think are a little outdated. They're a little insane. They're a little reworked. I think some of them are a little misogynistic, like the idea that your wife has to vote any way that you tell her to vote. I think that that's insane. I think that that's a misogynistic viewpoint. I think that that's crazy. Or that women, there should be no such thing as women pastors or women ministers. I think that's insane as well. Okay, I think that's crazy. I really do. Now, with that being said, there's also a whole lot of things that I do agree with that Andrew says. You know, it's one of those things, you know, just like, would you believe it? Just like all other human beings. You agree with some things and you disagree with others. Oh my God, who would have ever thought it's crazy? We're all 1-to-1, 100% carbon copy cutout versions of each other, of course. I guess they're surprised to find people that have brains and minds. And where's my pen, bro? I'm looking for my pen. And think for themselves. Like, they're not so used to meeting people that think for themselves, so it's surprising when someone disagrees with someone else. But also agrees on other subjects. Crazy. And I don't know where it went. I think I dropped it. Who cares? And anyways... But when he was in this debate recently with this girl, I don't even know her name. I don't care what her name is, okay? Whatever her stupid name is. She's some mixed girl or something like that. She's some hyper liberal, and they started off the debate with her talking about how the fact that she was like, she's like some kind of, what'd she call herself? Like a liberal all-star or something. I'm an all-star. That's what it is. Because they were talking about Jubilee or something, and she was invited to debate on Jubilee. If I went on there, I would destroy every single one of you. That's just a fact. I don't care to ever go on there because I think that the format's kind of stupid, honestly. But I would destroy all of you, honestly. But anyways, so... You got to antagonize him, you know. You got to push him a little bit. Like, come on, just come at me, bro. But anyway, so like, she was talking about like how he couldn't get on there or something like that Andrew guy. And he was like, well, that's because they're too scared to fight me. They're too scared to debate me. They don't want to go toe to toe with me. That's what it is. And she's like, no, it's because they only take people they know on there, Andrew. That you're not an all-star. And I'm like, okay, look, I don't know about that. I do know that he's on the Whatever podcast quite often. And he has hundreds of thousands of people that are listening to him. I mean, that's pretty decently big. That's a pretty big size audience, I'd say. And I've never heard of you. Just to be honest, I have no idea who you are. And so I don't know. Maybe she's bigger. Maybe he is. I don't know. I mean, he said that he wanted to go toe-to-toe. He said, let's look at our followers toe-to-toe. And then she like changed the subject or something. So I don't know. I really don't know. I have no idea which one it is. But I do know that anyone that's self-described liberal all-star or is talking about Jubilee like that means I'm important. Usually it's kind of dense, right? There's not a whole lot going on there. And so with that being said, they started talking, okay? And they were going into a debate. And they started talking about olive jars and all this other stuff. I don't know. But whatever the heck that has to do with, I have no idea. But the debate, basically what the debate could be wrapped up into is basically that he was making the claim, and I agree with him on this, that basically what he was trying to say, because I break it down for the liberals, it's hard for them to understand, I know. They listen to his whole debate and think that she just proved that he supported slavery instead of like putting 2 to 2 together and understand what he was actually saying. So let me break it down, okay? The point that he was making is that like he says that he gets his morality from God, right? And I say the same thing. I get my morality from God, from the Bible, right? And the founding fathers agree with us. They get their morality from God, right? That's why we hold these rights to be self-evident that all men are created equal and endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights. Right? So the point he was making, the point he was trying to make is that without God and the Bible per se, as a grounded set of works towards morality, there is no way to define rights, right? He was saying that without God, that there's no objective way to say what is right and what is wrong. And what he was trying to prove essentially is that the liberal, the left wing, the far leftists, they don't have any morality. They don't have a grounding base for what is right or what is wrong, which is why they can quote unquote be gender fluid or whatever it is. And they can not just gender fluid, but fluid in all their opinions all the time around the clock. And why they can say that they're against gay marriage in 2008 with Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, and then 10 years later become the biggest pro-gay activists on the face of the earth, and never get called out for it because they're fluid and they're progressive, and that just means they have the excuse to change their stance anytime they feel like on a dime and not get in trouble for it. And that conservatives don't do that, right? That's pretty much what he was saying. He was saying that my morality based in God and the Bible, just like the founding fathers with the Constitution and the whole idea that this country was built on in the first place, is unchangeable and therefore is reliable. So you know that we know what we believe and we don't believe what we believe, right? But you don't have such a thing. And really the argument that he was making is that you, in your worldview of a liberal, it would be impossible for morality to exist because you don't have anything to pull it from. And then she would say things like, well, natural law and like all these theories about rights and stuff like that. And what he was trying to say is, see, the problem with all those theories is that they're only grounded in the preference of the human being that stated them, right? So those people have those theories. Basically, this is what he's trying to say, right? The thing she was trying to pretend not to understand. And what it is it's saying this, okay? We have capitalist theory, right? We have an entire economical theory that is rooted in free market capitalism, right? That is just a fact. It doesn't matter whether or not you disagree or agree with that. It is a fact that there is a capitalistic free market theory and that it's been used in society and so on and so forth. And they have a whole group of philosophers that attribute to that philosophy. Fact. Independent fact. Now, on the other hand, another independent fact is that you have Karl Marx and you have communist theory and an entire group of philosophers and people throughout history that have perpetuated to communist theory, right? So this is the point that he was trying to make, okay? We have capitalist theory. We have communist theory. Both of them exist. That is an indisputable, verifiable, independent, objective fact. We have some people that prefer capitalism. We have some people that prefer communism. You can't prefer both because naturally they're both at war with each other. Capitalists hate communists and communists hate capitalists. Correct? So what he was trying to say is, in your theory, right, when you don't use God as your morality switcher, if you don't base off the Bible, this is the point he's trying to make, like the founding fathers did, then you are subjected to having to choose between preferences, right? Because you have to admit that there's a whole bunch of people that prefer capitalism and that there's a whole bunch of people that prefer communism. But how do you know, who are you to say that capitalism is superior to communism or communism is superior to capitalism? That would have to be completely and 100% based off of your own independent biases and your own self-projected morality and your preferential morality. Some people would make the argument that communism is way more empathetic and moral than capitalism. In fact, the core philosophers, the people that perpetuate communism, that's the argument that they make. In the same breadth, there are many who would say that capitalism is in fact more empathetic and moral, and the philosophers of capitalism, their core argument is that capitalism is more empathetic and moral than communism. So what you see is that there are two sets of people with two sets of ideals that both claim that their ideals are rooted in morality. So if you have a liberal viewpoint, which is where you say, well, I get my belief in rights and morality from natural law theory, or whatever it may be. She names a whole bunch of them, whatever it may be. All you're saying is that I prefer one preference of morality from human beings to another person's definition of morality from human beings. That's all you're saying. And that's the point he's trying to make. And the reason why that matters is because he's saying the reason why that matters is because if you live like that, where it's just perpetuated preferential morality and it's not coming from anyone outside of any moral authority, God, then what you're saying is, how are you to tell that slavery wasn't wrong? Right? That's basically what he said. She said, and then, she tries to whammy him and tries to viral clip him and doesn't want to get into the actual debate and tries to sit there and, act like she's stupid, like she's retarded and she doesn't know what he's talking about. What? Are you advocating for slavery right now, Andrew? Like, what are you doing? What are you even talking about, mate? Like, come on now. You didn't actually believe that's what he advocated for. You wouldn't even be on the show debating him, right? No, what it actually is that he was trying to make the point that at one point in time, the majority didn't see slavery as such a problem. Not just in America, but in the whole world, in all of human civilization. They didn't see it as such a big deal. And if you have preferential morality, then you would have stated that it's probably not a big deal either. Unless you had a different preferential morality, then you would say that it was. And who's to say if you only go by perpetual and morality? And essentially the point he's trying to make is that liberals, leftists, people on the far left like yourself, that don't believe in God, they don't have a moral arc. You claim this morality, but you have no moral grounding. And as a result of it, you don't even believe. You even say things like her truth, their truth. If that's how they feel, then it is true. My truth, our truth, all these different truths. If nobody's true, what is truth? Philosophy, is there even a truth? Is there truth? And all that kind of thinking, that type of thinking is what says, what if Karl Marx is right? What if Adolf Hitler's correct? What if Nazism isn't so bad? What's wrong with anti-Semitism? What's wrong with slavery? Right? And whether you like that or not, that is what that type of thinking leads to. You understand? Unless you make yourself God and the moral authority and you dictate what is right and what is wrong, and that would be called perpetuated preferential morality not grounded in anything but preferences and biases, which is exactly what Karl Marx and Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin did, and the reason why they advocated for believing the way that they believed, right? And that's the point he was trying to make. He was not defending slavery or Nazism. He was saying that it was in fact people that based their morality in the Bible and God, like the founding fathers, that eliminated Nazism and slavery. Abraham Lincoln, who was a Christian, and communism. If you ever go to a communist country, the very first thing they do is they get rid of churches and Christianity. Capitalist country are usually Christian nations, like the United States. And that's overall the point he was trying to make. And I agree with him. There's a good argument. But what was interesting is that she could not seem to comprehend. If she had just been able, and the whole point he's trying to make is we can literally spend this 3 hours talking about this one subject, and you cannot one time give me anything that your morality is based in that is grounded to real world objectivity. And that's the point he's trying to prove. And it's a good argument because they really went 3 hours and she never was able to. So it's very interesting. Now, one of the things that I found really interesting that I wrote down was when they started talking about ancestral relationships. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is basically what he said to her, right? And this is really interesting. I thought this very interesting. It just shows you how stupid that the far left is, right? He said, do you believe that if two brothers that are twins want to have homosexual, ancestral sex with each other, that's morally wrong? Because she was talking about bodily autonomy. And she said, as long as your body, you're not hurting anybody, then it's fine. And he said, okay, so what if two twin brothers want to have an ancestral sexual relationship? Is that fine? Is that moral? And she said, what? And she starts like, well, no, I don't. She starts getting noticeably flustered. I don't know that that's moral. I don't think that that's moral. I wouldn't call that moral. It's like, why not? They have bodily autonomy. What's wrong with it? She's like, what are you talking about? Do people even do that? And he didn't say this, but they do. You ever heard of the Island Boys? They actually did do that. They made out with each other on OnlyFans. It's freaking disgusting, honestly. And she said, is that even a thing? And then he said, well, what's the problem? Bodily autonomy. She said, they're hurting anybody? No, it's consensual. Totally consensual. So they're not hurting anybody. What's wrong with it? And she's like, well, and this is the argument she makes. Now, this is important. This has to be talked about. This is your leftist all-star here. This is your leftist all-star, as she calls herself, self-proclaimed. She's on Jubilee. They invited her on there because she's one of the all-stars of the Democratic Party and the left, and she's really a winner. She's making people really think about how left is so better than the right wing. You know what I mean? This is your leftist all-star left wing. I want you to pay real quick attention to what this lady had to say. Because she said, and I quote, well, the relationship is still hurting people outside of themselves because their family, if they were to find out about their twin brother ancestral relationship, would be mortified by it, and it would destroy their family, and therefore they're hurting their family, and so therefore it's an immoral relationship. That's the argument she made, word for word. Go back and watch it. On it all. Go back and watch it. Don't you lie. Don't you lie and perpetuate about what she said. Go back and watch the argument. That's what she said. If I misrepresented her, please prove it. She said that, right? Please drop it. Okay? And if you can make a claim with a video reacting, please then drop it, okay? So she says this, right? And then she says they'd also be outcasted by society. And so it's bad for themselves. They're causing harm to themselves because society would outcast them and treat them horribly because of their incestual relationship. Okay. Well, see, the point is, and while she was saying that to the screen, I was thinking to myself the whole time she's talking, isn't that like called a homosexual relationship? Like, isn't that what that is? Isn't that what that means? And then I was like, why isn't he telling her, isn't that a homosexual relationship? Like, didn't you just describe a homosexual relationship? And he didn't say anything for the first 5 minutes, but then eventually did bring it up. He said, I can say the same thing about any homosexual relationship. And I'm like, yes, finally, see? That's what I'm talking about, man. Exactly. That doesn't make any sense. You're a liberal, right? You're far left. You're super hardcore pro-LGBTQ, right? Like, I'm sure you are. Don't say you're not. I doubt that. I believe it. I mean, you'd lose your audience overnight if you weren't, right? I don't think you're allowed to be in the left wing if you're not super hardcore pro-LGBTQ, right? And so you said out of your own mouth that the reason why it's an immoral relationship is because they could hurt the family. Okay. So what about all those homosexuals that are in homosexual relationships and their family are all Christians or Muslims or Jews? And they're against homosexuality and they destroy the relationship with their family. So by the definition, and can't get out of it now, you dug yourself into this hole. You said it. I didn't say it, not me. You said it. That if incestual relationships would cause harm in that way, then they're immoral. By your own definition, homosexuality and homosexual relationships are immoral. By your own definition. You realize that? That's what you said. And then you added to it. You doubled down. They would harm themselves because they would be outcasted by society. People would treat them differently. Yeah, isn't that the same for homosexual relationships, isn't it? So your definition of morality is it hurts your family because they reject you, they reject your relationship, and it hurts you because you're outcast by society. So that means that you believe, out of your own perpetuated self-notion emotion, so-called far leftist and a darling baby for the Democratic Party, really debating and hitting. She thinks she's out here batting 1000s for you guys, Democrat Party. She just made the argument that homosexuals should all stop being gay and that there should be no homosexual relationships and that everybody that's ever come out of the closet should go right back in there because they hurt their family and they were outcasted by society. They hurt themselves, so it's immoral. That's what she just said, right? And then, even deeper than that, so civil rights should have never happened either, right? Because, and he brought that up too as well, right? This is what I would have done. That's what I would have said. So we should just throw the whole civil rights movement away because when they were fighting for civil rights, they were probably rejected by a whole lot of people, right? So your definition of morality is cowardice. That's right. Your definition of morality, your own personal definition, what you said, not what we said, what you said. You said it. Your definition of morality, far leftist, is that people should be cowards. And they should go with the majority all the time. So if they're in Nazi Germany, they shouldn't stand against anti-Semitism and murdering Jews because they would be outcasted by society and bring harm to themselves and their family, so it's immoral. And you should get rid of the civil rights movement because they would be outcasted and it's immoral. And all the homosexuals should go back in the closet because that's immoral. That's what you said out of your own mouth. You realize that. You're a leftist. You're part of the left wing. That's the argument that you made. Stupid people. The more you talk, the dumber you sound. The more you talk, the less we have to. The more you talk, the more you convince the rest of us that you really are an idiot. You really are that stupid. And then she goes on to say, Stupid people, man. She goes on to say that, well, then she realizes the conundrum that she just dug herself into. She starts having a mental realization moment. She's, oh, wait a second. And now she's trying to do the calculus mathematics thing. How do I get myself out of this one? She tries to channel her inner Bill and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and try to talk herself out of her own perpetuated stupidity. And she says, well, the thing with homosexuality is that they can't choose who they're attracted to. And it's like, okay, so you can't choose who you're attracted to, right? Yeah. So why can't the homosexual twin brothers be attracted to each other? Because they can't choose that they're attracted to each other. And then she says, no, it doesn't work that way because that's different because you can choose not to be attracted to your brother or something like that. I'm like, okay, how do you know that? Are you in an incestuous relationship? How do you know what you could choose? I mean, you know what I mean? Just kind of like race theory. How could you know what it's like to be black if you were never born black? How could you know what it's like to be in an incestual relationship if you've never been in one? How could you know that being gay is not a choice if you've never been gay? But don't use that logic with, how could you know what it's like to be white if you've never been white? How could you know what it's like to be straight if you've never been straight? What hypocritical, crazy nonsense. And she says, So off of her own accord, how do you know that they could choose not to be attracted to their homosexual brother, to their twin brother incestual relationship? How do you know that? Well, why? Because it's your preference of morality. That's right, exactly. Because it's not rooted in anything real. That's why. And it was so hilarious. I'm like, she's really making the argument right now that we should condemn all abolitionists, condemn all the people that help Jews, and condemn the entire homosexuals because they all decided to do something that caused them to be outcasted by society. Like, do you realize how crazy and insane that sounds when you say it? But the reason why you say it is because you can't think of another argument for why it's immoral. Because like the liberal, the whole point of view, the reason you bring up that argument, catching her in her own lies and her own webs, tossing herself into a circle, is that the whole point is that liberals don't have a definitive version of morality. They don't know what to say. They don't know what they think, and they switch on a dime whenever it's convenient for them. They don't have a sense of morality. They're fluid. Their opinions are as fluid as their genders are. They go back and forth constantly. The only difference between them and conservatives is when conservatives say something, they have to stick to it. If a conservative flip-flops, the whole world calls them out on it. Liberals flip-flop, and it's called being progressive. 15 years ago, that was the argument people made for homosexual marriage. And now you call those people bigots. So 15 years from now, if people are in incestuous relationships, are they going to call you a bigot? Today you're a trailblazer, tomorrow you're a bigot? That's how it's going to work? Probably, right? Cancel, because that's what they do now, right? Cancel Abraham Lincoln. Get rid of capitalism and slavery. Yeah. Bunch of nutcases. So the thing is, and then she's like, well, the thing is, and then she just keeps digging herself into a hole. She just keeps digging herself into a farther and deeper hole. Like, come on, you stupid, figure it out, man. Like she goes, well, incestual relationships aren't a thing. And so, oh yeah, they are. That's not a sexuality. Yes, it is. You think of all people, you would know that. You're the far left. You're the ones that came up with 167 sexualities. If anybody's an expert on gender studies and all the sexualities out there, it should be you, right? There is an entire sexuality based on incestuous relationships. There's an actual word for it. I forgot. Just go watch it. He brought the word up. They Googled it. They brought the word up. I forget what it's like, consequences or something like that. It's very interesting. And Google actually tells you, by the way, 20, and then this is where she starts digging herself in a deeper hole. She says, how many people is that even though? Like, how many people are you actually talking about? Like, what percentage of society? Yeah, exactly, honey. What percentage of society is involved in it? Now, that's your argument for us not to talk about it? I hate to break it to you, but that's the argument for why people don't want to talk about transgenderism. You realize that, right? Because they make up less than 1% of the population. And nobody understands why 1% of the population is telling the other 99% what to do, right? That's the exact opposite of democracy, correct? And I hate to break it to you, that's also the argument for why people aren't pro-LGBTQ. Because you realize that the LGBTQ makes up like 5% of the population, right? And if you actually look into those incestuous relationships globally, there's whole countries and societies that perpetuate and prefer incestuous relationships. They make up about 20%. Google it, 20% of the human population. So by definition, their population for those incestual relationships are 20 times higher than transgenders relationships. And about 4 or 5 times higher than homosexual relationships. So if now the argument, she doesn't know what to say. Now the argument is, well, if it doesn't make up enough people, why are we talking about it? Okay, so why are we talking about LGBTQ? Why are we talking about transgenders? They make a much smaller population than they do. Like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. These liberals, they have nothing to talk about. That's nothing to talk about. This is one of their darling girls on the left wing. This is one of their darling darts. One of their big shot hookahs. One of their, ooh, I got you now people. Yeah, okay. You got a whole lot going on, don't you? And they come up with the stupidest crap I've ever heard of in my life. Now, with that being said too, like, come on, man. It's just like blatant stupidity, bro. Like, come on, man. What are you talking about? I love it when you guys destroy your own arguments. It's so fun. It's so fun for me when you guys destroy your own arguments. Then I don't have to do much. I don't have to do a lot of work. I just let you guys talk and you kill yourselves. It's fun like that. It's funner for me. And, you know, that's just crazy, bro. And then she pulls out the famous classic liberal, the classic Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Obama line. Well, she starts trying to rework. She starts trying to work backwards out of that argument, doesn't she? Oh, no, I found out it makes up 20% of the population. I could get in trouble for this. And then she starts saying, actually, I'm going to have to do more research on the subject because I didn't realize that was a thing and I don't really have anything to say about it now. Oh, because your opinions and your morality, like he was proving, because it's not based in God, nothing real. It's all based on preferential preference. So you're as fluid, your opinions and your morality is as fluid as your gender is. It just goes back and forth. You're like a frog. You just change whatever you believe on a dime just to get wherever you're trying to go, huh? So now, because you found out that it makes up 20% of the population, even though you swore up and down from here on out that you believed with your whole heart, you had such high sincerity and authenticity and integrity that you believed with your whole heart that incestuous relationships were not right, they were immoral, and this is the hill that you were willing to die on no matter what. And then all of that morality changed right before our eyes in a matter of 0.2, 0.5 seconds when you realized that the majority, that the minority of the population percentage-wise that makes up that group of people is 4 or 5 times higher than the homosexual community and 20 times higher than the community for transgenders. And now you got a big voter block. Now we have to change our entire morality on the fly like Barack Obama and the Clintons did with gay marriage. Just like a typical liberal does. Their opinions and their morality is as fluid as their gender. They don't stand for anything. And just like the old way says, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for anything. Right? Bunch of idiots. Bunch of fools. You just got to go watch it. I encourage you to go watch it, man. It was a crazy debate. It's an hilarious argument. Round 1's good. Round 2's better. Go watch round 2. And you'll be like, my goodness, she said it all right there, bro. She said it all right there. It's on the Whatever podcast. Go watch it. It's good. It was like the last like 3 or 4 or 5 videos they put up there. You should see it. When you go on there, you'll see it pretty quick. The clips were hilarious off that one, man. Crazy. Ah, that's right. I just wrote some things down that from like some of the stuff that I was watching, because like I told you, I've never hated the Whatever podcast. I just think it's crazy that you can watch a podcast for 12 hours. Like, you know what I mean? I think it's an incredible accomplishment that they're able to film for 7 to 12 hours every single time that they do and still gather up 150,000 views per episode. I think that's pretty incredible. I've watched a lot of the clips, like we all have. I'm sure most of us have seen the clips of the Whatever podcast. Like, we know what it's about. Charlie Kirk's been on there. Candace Owens has been on there. Various others. Pretty big. And the thing is, though, but I've never, like, sat down and watched it, like, all the way through before. But, like, for whatever reason, here in the last couple of weeks, I've just been sitting there binge watching the crap out of the Whatever podcast, and it's been pretty funny, man. It's some of the funniest stuff I find on here. I guess I get bored, you know? For me, that's lighthearted, right? Because all the other subjects are so serious. You get lighthearted and just got to watch people argue and fight each other for a little bit. And I was writing down some of these things that they were talking about because I'm like, this stuff is crazy, man. This stuff is crazy. Like her talking about men should sleep with more men. Like, come on, what are you talking about? It's hard to believe these people exist. You know what I mean? Like, it really is. But they do. They do. They're real people. And that's why America's... you know the rest. Ah, that's right. Actually, you know what? You know what else is crazy? And I just thought about this while I was thinking about that. I remembered because while I was thinking about that, and then I got this memory where they were talking about like old people in nursing homes and how old people in nursing homes have like a higher STD count than like everyone else in the world. And I was like, what? Is that real? So like I went and I looked at it. I went and I researched it. That's true, actually. It turns out that old people have a higher STD count than everyone in the world. Like apparently HIV is like the number one perpetuated place for HIV is in nursing homes. I know a lot of people think it's the homosexual community, but actually it's in nursing homes, really interestingly enough. Isn't that interesting? Like, and she was talking about that. I was like, what, is this true? Like, I went and looked at it, and it's actually true. It's kind of strange. And, but it's not really that strange. It makes a lot of sense, right? Because these people are like 80, 90 years old. Like, they're on their deathbeds. Most of them don't have very long to live. You know, they don't have much to do. All they do is eat and drink and sleep all day. So, like, it's not like they're afraid of the consequences, you know what I mean? Like, it's the same argument for why I think, like, I wonder to myself, how come, like, a lot of, like, 70, 80, 90-year-old men don't take steroids? Like, I don't understand why they don't take steroids. And people think that's crazy. Like, that sounds like a crazy thing. Like, why would you take steroids? Steroids are so bad for you. Like, look, I understand. I get it. Yeah, obviously, we all know steroids are bad for you. Like, duh, pretty obvious, right? Like, steroids make all muscle grow, and since your heart's a muscle, your heart literally grows with every beat, and then you die of a heart attack, right? We all know that steroids are bad, right? Okay. And we've seen so many people die of steroids young because they took them young. And then we see people like Arnold Schwarzenegger who are still going really strong even after taking all those roids. But he also had like 4 open heart surgeries, not a coincidence. So, but the point is that, okay, that's what I'm saying, right? Taking steroids in your teens, asinine. You'll be dead before you're 30. Taking them in your 20s, asinine. You'll still probably be dead before you're 30. Taking them in your 30s, asinine. By the time you're 40, you'll be in a wheelchair, right? Like, these are real things. But the point is, like, you could get away with steroids for a good 5, 10 to 15 years before you have any real hardcore complications about it, right? So I think to myself, like, if you're young, right, you're in your 20s, your 30s, whatever, it doesn't make sense to take steroids. It's very stupid. It doesn't make any sense at all. Why would you do that? Because you have your whole life ahead of you, right? Essentially, honestly. It's kind of dumb. But what I think on the flip side of that is, like, if you're 80 years old, just imagine you're an 80-year-old nursing home. It's the same reason they all got STDs, right? Because they don't fear the consequence. It's the same reason that when you see someone that's like, I knew this woman, and she was like literally like 98 years old, and this woman smoked cigarettes like all day long. Like all day long, back to back to back to back. The craziest chain smoker I've ever seen, just smoking cigarettes all day long. And, you know, the thing is, it's because she's 90 years old and she's really not too worried about those cigarettes being a problem for her in her future, right? It's not going to do anything. So when you are 80, 90 years old, you probably think like that. Like, you could smoke as much as you want. It's not going to cause any problems. You could drink as much as you want. You could do whatever you want as much as you want. It's not going to cause any problems because what can it do? And that's the reason why the STD count is so high in the nursing homes, because might as well just have sex with everything that walks the floor, because, like, why not? I mean, if they're not married, right? If they're not being loyal or something to, like, a spouse, like, they're in there by themselves. They don't probably never see themselves getting married again. Probably never see themselves having children anymore. Probably don't see themselves creating any more families. They already have, you know. So they just think, well, let's just go and have sex with everything that walks, because you might as well eat, drink, and be merry, right? So they all get HIV, but they're not worried about it because the HIV is not going to take them out, because it takes too long for the HIV to start taking them out, right? So the same thing is perpetuated with, like, steroids. I think to myself, if you're like 85, 90 years old, but with steroids, it makes a little bit more sense, right? Because, like, think about it. Like, this person's 80, 85, 90. They're skinny. They feel weak. They feel feeble. They're having a hard time walking around. Like, their muscle mass isn't helping them. Why would they not just go ahead and take, like, a Schwarzenegger dose level of roids, right? Because, one, just really think about it. I'm not telling you that your grandpa should go take steroids or anything, but I'm just saying, like, really think about it theoretically. If it takes 15 years for the steroids to catch up with them, they don't have to worry about that. They're probably, in their head, they're not going to be here in 15 years, right? And they won't have to worry. They'll grow like 150 pounds of muscle. They won't have to worry about being abused in nursing homes. You know what I mean? They won't have to be a feeble person anymore. They don't have to worry around the streets worrying that somebody decides to punch them and steal their purse just because, for whatever. Because they'll be as strong as a bull. So they get to live the rest of their life not feeble, stronger than they've ever been, and never have to deal with the consequences. You know what I mean? So it's interesting thought. I never really thought about it until I saw, like, this old guy who's like 80 years old. I saw this one guy who's like 80 years old, and he was actually doing that. Like, he was on steroids. He was on roids. And he was huge. Like, he looked like he was not too far off from becoming the next Arnold. And he was like 85. And I was like, you've been taking roids your whole life? And then he's like, no, he said he was not taking roids his whole life. He just started, he was like in his 60s or something. And then I started to think to myself, now what if he started when he was like 80? Because he's like 85. Like, he would never have to worry about it. I don't know. It's just something that popped into my head. Pretty interesting. I mean, yeah, pretty interesting. I don't know. If you're not worried about HIV, why would you be worried about steroids? The only difference is that the steroids are actually going to probably improve you in your time where you probably feel like you're at your weakest, right? Yeah. And, yeah, well, whatever. But, well, that's a really expensive habit. Yeah. Well, so is plastic surgery, but you guys don't have a problem with that one. All these people on plastic surgery, for the love of God, please, women, will you stop getting plastic surgery? Please stop getting plastic surgery. Please stop botching your noses up and turning your faces into plastic silicone faces. Stop it. Stop it. We don't want lips that are so big they look like that they just came off of the back of a pucker fish, okay? We don't want that. We don't want cheekbones that look like they're made out of neuroplastines or whatever they're made out of. We don't want that. We don't want it. It's disgusting. You look ugly. You're horrible. I have never once, it's just like that song, LA girls all look the same, and I feel this so heavily and so hardly and so deeply. And anybody at all that's ever been anywhere around that world or those people understand exactly what. LA girls all look the same. I can recognize. Same work done on their face. I don't criticize. She a cold-hearted with no shame, but her throat's too far. She got chrome hearts hanging from her neck, and that is going wild. She gon' ride, till sweat drops down her spine. She's all mine for the night, until he calls her line. Yeah, I feel that, bro. I feel that so deeply because it's so true. LA girls all look the same. I can't recognize. Same work done on their face. I don't criticize. And the reason why you don't is because you don't feel like getting into an argument for 20 minutes with these crazy women. I feel that so deeply. We don't want the silicone faces. We don't want them. You don't look better. I guarantee you, I promise you, okay? I promise you. And you have your own eyes. So it's not like you don't see it. It's not like you don't notice. It's not like you ever look at somebody with plastic surgery yourself personally and think, wow, that person looks way better after that happened, right? That never goes through your head. Doesn't go through yours, doesn't go through ours, doesn't go through anybody's. And you are not the exception that's going to change it. It's not going to not work for everybody else, but then for some reason you look better after you got it, okay? You have body dysmorphia. You need to chickadee check yourself before you wreck yourself. I could just kill a man. You need to check yourself before you need to chickadee check yourself before you need to chickadee check yourself before you wreck yourself. I could just kill a man. That's what you need to do. You need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. I could just kill a man. You're just going to kill a woman. You're going to kill yourself. Okay, that's what it is. You're crazy. You have body dysmorphia. Okay. You need to be professionally treated. I don't know how that treatment looks. I don't know what they do for that. You need help. Okay. You have body dysmorphia. I saw this page the other day where they took a bunch of women. They took a bunch of girls. And they asked them, and I'll probably try to go find that video or something, share. It's really interesting. They took a bunch of women, like young, I say women, girls, whatever. You know, they're like all in their 20s. And they showed them, they asked them all. There was like 20 different women. And they asked them all, what do you want to look like? Show us. And they showed them like pictures of all these models from like super skinny to plus size and everywhere in between. And they said, out of all of these women, and they pointed to each one individually, which of these women would you want to look like? Would you prefer to look like? Which one of these bodies do you want your body to have? Do you want your body to be? And all the women picked whatever it was. And afterwards, they came up to them and they showed them, honey, that is the exact same body measurements that you have right now. And it was literally the exact same. And it was every single one of them. How strange is that? Every last one of them. Not one of them picked a couple inches lower, a couple inches higher. Every one of them picked. So strange, so weird, really. It's very strange. the exact same waist and body and breast and thigh measurement as their own personal body. They're saying, listen, lady, that's body dysmorphia. You have such body dysmorphia that when you look inside the mirror, you don't realize that you're actually looking. Okay? You're actually, when you're looking at these magazine model girls and you look inside the mirror, you are actually looking at the exact same body measurement type, and you have no idea. That's body dysmorphia. If you wanted to look like these women, then you stay exactly the where you are right now. That's crazy, right? That's called body dysmorphia. Real, actual mental disorder. That's plastic surgery people. All you plastic surgery people out there, we know the truth. You got body dysmorphia. You can't hide it. You can't lie to us. Nobody thinks anything different. When we see you come in with the plastic surgery, we see you changed yourself. We did not think, wow, they look so much better. What we did think was that, wow, they were all struggling with insecurity and deeply rooted body dysmorphia, and we had no idea. That's what we actually think. That's what actually goes through our head. We think, wow, they had a pretty face and now it's uglier. They got worse, and it's a shining example to the whole world that they were filled with crippling insecurity and body dysmorphia. Like, that's exactly what we think. Those people have mental disorders. That's what we think. It's like, you think, like, this ugly guy over here, you know, he has literally crippling insecurity and crippling insecurity and body dysmorphia on top of the fact that he's ugly, right? Like, that's what we think. Honestly, it's crazy. And like all these celebrities that's happening to, like Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande. I love you, Ariana. I've always loved you, Ariana. I've always loved you, Ariana. I love you. And not just because you're the sexiest thing walking around on 2 feet, or at least you were at one point in time, right? I would watch Victorious as a young child, and I would say to myself, man, and I love you too, Victoria Justice. But I remember as a young child, I would say, Kat Valentine is so sexy. And why do they act like she's so stupid? I feel bad for her that she always plays this dumb person when she's so attractive. And then when I saw the fact that when I saw that episode where they had them sing in like a talent show or whatever it was, and then I heard her voice and I was like, oh my God, like what the heck is going on right now? And I thought that she was lip syncing. I thought that was lip syncing at first. Anyone that goes back and watches it, I'm sure they feel the same way. You remember that when we was children, it was crazy. Thought it was lip syncing, and then she kept going, and then her like jaw was quivering when she was singing. I was like, oh my God. Like, this woman is really singing that. She's a freaking genius. She has the voice of an angel. Like, how do you sound like that and look like that and you still are not the star? What does that mean? That doesn't make any sense, right? That doesn't make any sense. Some people look really good, but they sound like crap. And some people sound really good, but they look like crap. But if you look good and sound good, how are you not the star of the show? How are you not the one that's in charge? Like, no offense to Victoria Justice. Victoria Justice is a beautiful woman in her own right? She really is. She is a gorgeous woman. But she's also, she's not a bad singer. She's not a bad singer. She's a good singer. She's not a bad actress. She's not a horrible actress. She's not bad. She's better than average in singing and acting, and she's way above average in looks. But Ariana is way above average in looks, and she's not just got a good voice, she is gifted. She was born to sing. She was born to sing, right? That's exactly what it is. She's gifted. She's born to do it. Fish and water. wouldn't fit anywhere else in life. That's where she's meant to be. That's where she's meant to be. That's what she's meant to do. And there ain't no way that the people that were in charge of the Victoria cast did not know that she was that talented. And it's purposefully the reason why they made her the stupid, dumb girl in the show, and they shoved her off to the side and wouldn't let anybody know or see how great that she actually was, because they were trying to, it's just like a Jackson 5 situation. It's just like one of those things. They're trying to put the star under the wraps, not let anybody see how great they are, get rid of their star quality and how great they really are, because they feel intimidated by the fact that they know, and everybody knows because it's so blatantly obvious, gut feeling, aura, something about it, can't put your finger on it, but you know it's there. This person is the one that's meant to be. And you're all a bunch of jealous, envious haters. Correct. And I understand that because I've dealt with jealous, envious haters my whole life. You're all a bunch of jealous, envious haters. And you suck. And it's not your fault you suck, but you do. And that's your problem, not mine. Anyways, so that's what it is. Ariana Grande, though, like Michael Jackson, like anybody that's gifted in that area or any area, is very well aware of the fact that they're gifted and smarter and better than everybody else around them, and will not tolerate such a hold, and goes on and decides to do Billie Jean by themselves, or decides not to sign with Nickelodeon Records and goes and makes a song with Mac Miller and becomes super famous overnight, right? So good for you, Ariana. Biggest superstar in the world at one point, over 100 million followers on Instagram. And I was so happy to see that, because I was like, after I saw how great she was, I was like, this is not right. This girl needs to be known for who she is. And when I saw the fact that she became known for who she was, I was so happy. Nobody was happier than me, because I said, I'm so proud of you, because I saw you all the way from Cat Valentine days. I'm so proud of you that you had the self-confidence and the determination and the cutthroat instinct that's necessary when you're that great. It's necessary when you're that great, as a businesswoman, as a talent, as a creative, to be who you're meant to be and shine in your destiny. Beautiful thing to watch. Now, on top of all of that, now we're sad, because Ariana is now obviously struggling with body dysmorphia, and it's very sad. I mean, that's what I think. I could be wrong. We could be wrong. It could be something way out there, some kind of crazy disease nobody knows about or anything, but we're probably not wrong, right? We're probably correct. And she's become super skinny. She's bone skinny. She's changing colors. She's becoming pale. She's becoming white. She looks like she's white. She looks like she's on death's door. She looks like a vampire. Her body and her skin are becoming paler. And she's skin and bones, literally. And it's horrific to watch. It's like, Ariana, you used to be so sexy. One of the sexiest women on the face of the planet. But because of your body dysmorphia and probably anorexia, bulimia, if we're just being honest, you have tricked yourself into thinking that you were not already what you were, and now you are destroying yourself, and it's the saddest thing to watch. But this seems to be a recent trend, and people are like, well, I was talking to my friend about it the other day. It's like, well, Ariana's went through a lot in her life. Yeah, you're right, she has. Right, Mac, and then him dying, and then other relationships she was in, and like there was a bunch of other stuff too that happened. And she made that song about the four of them together, about all those relationships she was in, and this one showed me this, where this one showed me that, blah 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 blah. And also, like, something else happened. I forget what it was, but it was like a super tragic thing too. I can't remember if it had something to do with her family or something. But it's like she's lived through a lot for such a young age. Like, she has really went through a lot. And I think, and now this is another thing, just another weight on the mind, and maybe that perpetuates to the body dysmorphia and all those things. Grace, it's really insane. And also the fact that she came out of The fact that she came out of Nickelodeon. The fact that she's a child star. And we really need to have a conversation about that. We have to have a conversation about these child stars and what in the hell is actually going on with all of these child stars. Right? And now this is a new trend that seems to be marching through Hollywood like crazy, because it's not just her. It's also like, who was it? Was it Christina Aguilera? I think it is. Maybe. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember who it was, but it was someone like that. I remember it's a blonde singer. I'm pretty sure it was Christina Aguilera, who's gotten really bone skinny as well. And I'm like, oh my God. And she's a powerhouse voice as well. Like, no, my God, it's happening to you too. And Halsey, which just detriments me inside, because I'm a much bigger fan of Halsey than I am of Ariana, bro. I've been with Halsey from day one. I remember Halsey way back in the beginning. I listened to Badlands on repeat. I have the entire album memorized. I have every word. I have every beat of every sonic volume in that entire album from start to finish. Badlands totally ingrained into my mind. I know Badlands like I know the back of my hand, honestly. And I was there from Badlands and Hopeless Fountain Kingdom. I have that entire album memorized as well. And Manic, I have that entire album memorized as well. And Room 93, I got that whole EP memorized as well. All of it. Hurricane, which was one of my favorite songs of all time. It's all up here. I got it all memorized. It's all up here. And If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power. I got that whole thing up here too. I got it all up here, man. The whole discography. I got it all up here. Literally. Love Halsey. And Halsey is also beautiful, sexy. One of the sexiest women alive. Absolutely gorgeous. But now she's like turned into skin and bones as well. I'm like, oh my God, not you, Halsey. Not you. Not beautiful, gorgeous Ashley Frangipani. No. Halsey Street, Brooklyn. No, not you, Halsey. No. But credit, I don't think that's body dysmorphia, right? I think she talked about that. I think she said that that's she has like an autoimmune disorder or something like that. I think that's like a real legitimate actual medical issue that she's actually going through like serious problems. Like, you know, and that's really crazy. And that makes me really sad. And the last album, and so man, it makes me really sad. I really feel bad for Halsey. I pray for Halsey. I really do. I want nothing but the best for Halsey. I feel very bad for Halsey. And I feel really sad for Halsey. And also, because she's still so young. And incredible life story. And also, when I listened to that album, like, it was so sad. It was so heartbreaking. Like, I'm like, what are you telling me? Are you telling me you're about to die? Don't be telling me you're about to die. I don't want to hear that you're about to die. Don't be telling me you're about to die. Because that's what it sounds like, right? From the beginning, from the start to the finish, it sounds like she's saying goodbye to me. That's what it says. She's saying goodbye. She's talking about she's going to die. That's what it sounds like, right? And like where it starts off, how she wishes that she was sick when she was a little girl, and then she doesn't anymore, and then now she's an adult, and she's glad she never was sick, and now she is sick, and now, oh my God, you know what I mean? It's like heart-wrenching, bro, and talking about her baby and all this. Oh my God, it's horrific, man. Don't tell me that you're gonna die. Oh, no. Don't die. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't do that. I don't want you to die. And then now, like, on top of that, after being snubbed by the Grammys for a long time, which is true, the Grammys are always snubbing everybody, honestly. And on top of that, Also talking about like where she said now her label won't let her make another album because the last one didn't do as commercially well as they thought it was going to do or something, even though the tour did really well. I don't know. It's crazy. Highlighting the more bull of the music industry that I despise and hate so much, because it's not just the music industry. It's the acting industry, like we're talking about with Ariana. It's the acting industry. It's the child star industry. It's the music industry. It's everything. The whole thing is crap. It's a load of crap. Throw it away in the trash or the garbage where it belongs. It makes me so mad. I hate it. I hate it so much. I despise it because it's not right. It's not right that people that are creatively gifted and deserve to be where they are. And there's a lot of people that are there that don't deserve to be there. We know that too, right? But people like Ariana with the voice of an angel, people like Halsey, who is talented in not just as a singer, but writer, creative writer, and I'm a creative writer as well, so I really understand that. I really respect that. Creative writer and songwriter, and as an artist, one of the greatest artists that I've ever seen in my life. Literally, this girl can draw the Mona Lisa in 5 minutes. I can't draw. That's one thing that I definitely cannot do. So I really respect artists like that. I've always kind of been like, man, artists have always fascinated me, man. Like, I'm a creative writer. I love to write. And I like to act. I'm a good actor. And I like music, but I've never been able to. I've never been a drawer. I've never been a painter. I've never been one of those people. So I carry probably maybe even more of a fascination and a more respect for like those specific creative types, right? And so people that deserve to be there, multi-talented people like Halsey. People with the voice of an angel like Ariana. And, you know, whoever else, various others, many others. It's just bull to see these people that deserve to be there, that are better than everybody else at what they do, not get the respect they deserve, and not get the money they deserve. Yeah, I mean, they get rich, they get famous, whatever, but come on now. When you have record labels and movie labels and all of this perpetuated BS that's constantly prostituting these artists, still in their gift that they made. They do absolutely nothing to help make the art. They just hijack it off of you. And, well, they distribute it. They distribute it. But that's really thievery. It's middleman thievery, right? It's like middleman New World Order jewelry store thievery, like really. Like they distribute it. Like, yeah, but if the system wasn't rigged and set up in such a way where you made it illegal or allowed bigger platforms to intentionally go out of their way to stop the distribution of like independent artists, let's say, that wouldn't be a thing, would it? Like, you distribute, it's like holding people hostage, right? It's really evil, honestly. Terrible contracts like BB Rexa, another beautiful woman who has a powerhouse voice, belted. And I remember hearing her in an interview talk about how she was signed to a contract that was complete BS for 10 years, that she's the one that wrote the song for Eminem and Rihanna. She's the one that wrote that song. What's the name of it? Monster. That's what it's called, right? Get along with the voices inside of my head. That song. She wrote that song. BB Rexa wrote that song. She wrote the entire thing from start to finish. She was supposed to sing on it, but because of her terrible record deal, they stole the song from her, said, by the way, you wrote it, we're keeping it. It's your creative work, we're keeping it. We're putting Eminem on it, which is cool, nothing wrong with putting Eminem on it. But here's the bad news. We're taking you off of it. So it's not going to be you and Eminem, which would have been a probable career breakthrough moment. No. It's going to be, we're going to go grab Rihanna, who doesn't really, if we're just being honest, need the views or money, or spotlight. And we're going to put her on it, and then it's going to be Eminem and Rihanna on this song. And they screwed her. They totally screwed her. It's really jacked up. Like, I heard her talking about it. And for 10 years, and it took her 10 years to get out of that contract. Thank God she's still young. And then when she knew better, because she really got burned by that system, she started making better contract, better music, starts releasing her own music, and like overnight, all of a sudden we all know who BB Rex is, right? And right afterwards, not too long after that, she's singing at New Year's Eve on Times Square, right? So it's really interesting. So I just hate it. I hate it. I hate the entertainment industry. And somebody who loves the entertainment world, right? Somebody that's a creative, somebody that loves theater and drama and acting and writing and my whole family's like that. Coming from a family that's very in tune with the creative world, music and instruments and everything. Nobody despises that industry more than we do, because that industry is responsible for stopping people that are actually meant to be there from being there. And then if they do get there, they try to make them jump through all these hoops. It's just evil. They prostitute them. They take advantage of them. They try to suck them dry for all their money. They try to prostitute their creative gift, really is what it is. And people that aren't meant to be there, and the people that are meant to be there either don't get there because they're playing really good on the sidewalk for free, or they refuse to sell their soul, whether you take that figuratively or literally. And there's a big possibility that it could be either or, really. And whatever. And especially as a conservative, where now they hate you even 20 times more than they already did. And I hate to break it to you, but like Nicki Minaj told you, and like she's come out recently and said, I hate to break this to you, but I would say half or more, probably about 70% of your celebrities in Hollywood, actors, singers, and everything else, they're actually conservatives. They're actually Trump supporters. They actually don't believe in this crazy far left woke narrative. They don't believe in it. But they don't want to get canceled. They don't want to ruin their life. They're afraid that they're going to get Charlie Kirked or Kanye'd or whatever else it may be, trumped, where they all loved you for years, but now you're a white supremacist. They're afraid that they're going to encounter those problems, so they just kind of don't talk about it. They just stay quiet and they keep it to themselves. But they don't really believe it, though. And I remember Nicki saying that way back before this last thing where she came out, where during the pandemic, she was like, criticized the vaccine. She's like, oh, no, you're not going to do this to me because, and what did she say? She said, like, yeah, I know you don't know this, but like 70% of the rappers that you're listening to that are on the top 20 radio, they all feel the exact same way I do. They just don't say it because they don't want to get canceled. You people are trying to destroy their careers. You're trying to destroy their livelihoods and their right to their own money that they made. And that's what it really is. But you all turn a blind eye to Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein and P. Diddy, right? Yeah. But you're the moral authority, though. That's right. I forgot. It's Donald Trump that's the bad guy. Get rid of that guy. He's the bad guy, huh? Yep. Okay. Whatever you say. And, it is what it is. And then you do this. I mean, you molest Drake Bell. You got Schneider at Nickelodeon. And I always thought he was a little weird. You make these child stars go nuts, right? You got your Miley Cyrus's, Hard Life. Your Free Britney's coming out of you, Disney. Your heroin overdose Demi Lovato's. Okay, that's what your legacy is. You got your Nez declassified school survival guy that we just found, who's homeless on the side of the street. You got your Oliver smoking cigarettes like 50 cigarettes at once, but he's actually a drug addict too. You got your Emily Osment problems. You got your Drake Bell being molested. Something happened with Josh Peck as well. Crazy stuff. You're trying to keep Ariana Grande from becoming a star. You got destroying Victoria Justice's career because she's still very attractive. Still, this many years later, she's still very attractive and still a good singer. Now she's starting to make a slight comeback. Praise God, hallelujah. I hope she does. With the Halloween thing and the Christmas thing, I hope she does. You're great, beautiful, wonderful. Love to see it. But what's a shame, though, is that, and a lot of people probably, it's Ariana's fault. It's not Ariana's fault. Ariana's fault. Ariana's being Ariana. She's doing what she's supposed to do. Don't be a hater. No, it's Nickelodeon Records' fault for tricking you, Victoria Justice, into signing, and I'm not saying Victoria blamed her, I'm just saying people do. It's them for tricking you into signing with Nickelodeon Records because no Nickelodeon record song has ever hit the top one song ever. Has that ever happened? Instead of signing with a secular label like Ariana did, and then you'd probably be a lot farther than you are right now, and that's just the way it is. And then Sam from Sam and Cat, oh God. And she was writing that book. And in that book, she admits that she was jealous of Ariana. It's crazy. It's crazy stuff. But I'm glad that she's got her own thing going on as a New York Times bestseller. That's cool. And, so on and so forth. This is the industry. That's the industry. The industry that silences NF, the Christian rapper. Even though he's one of the greatest rappers alive. Quite literally one of the greatest rappers alive. You know it, I know it. If you know hip-hop and you know NF, shut your mouth. Don't even try to deny it. You know, right? NF is top 10 alive across any platform. Hip-hop rapper. Against anyone. Right now. I'd advise you not to try to climb inside the mind like I do. Keep the rhyme book expedited. Hope the time is on my side, because if it's not, then I'll decide to override my own demise to recognize the fact that I could jeopardize and recognize. You better give me your attention, the undivided. Woo! NF. Who the industry tries to get rid of just because he's a Christian, just because he doesn't cuss in his music, not because he doesn't have the content, not because he's corny, he's definitely not that, not because he's not passionate, he definitely is that, not because he's not great, he definitely is that, not because he don't got bars, not because he's not a lyricist, not because he doesn't got wordplay, not because he don't got beats, not because he don't got music, not because he don't got numbers, not because he don't got 2 number 1 albums. But only because he doesn't cuss in his music and he mentions Christ and God ever so often. That's the only reason why. Because he's the moral compass of hip-hop. That's the only reason why. Although everyone in the industry respects NF, right? That's why he makes a song with Tech-Nina. And Tech-Nina does not cuss in the song out of pure respect for NF. And Hobson, who does not cuss in the song out of pure respect for NF. Come on. So if you actually know, you know. You know. It's crazy. That industry that silences people like NF now has turned their back against Nicki Minaj, and they're all calling her a whatever. She's the queen of hip-hop. Quit being a hater. You suck. You're mad. Loser. You're just mad because Nicki Minaj is as colorblind as Lil Wayne and Young Money, and that's what it is. And I used to, and I've always listened to Young Money. Young Money was my favorite. It was like the center of my entire hip-hop world when I was younger. That's who I was always listening to. It's crazy. It all comes full circle, doesn't it? It really does. And now they all hate them. Yeah. I'm surprised they haven't said anything about Kevin Gates yet, because he doesn't support Black Lives Matter. Kevin Gates is a real guy. Love Kevin Gates. It's just really interesting. So stupid. And that's the industry. Ignore NF because he's a Christian. Hide Ariana, rape children, molest kids, turn child stars into a bunch of drug addicts. Put BB Rex in a 10-year bad deal. Put Halsey on the shelf because apparently she's not making enough. Oh my God, just shut up. Just shut up already, you bunch of frickin' psychopaths. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane, man. It's just wild. I mean, come on. Look at Johnny Depp. Will you just look at him for a minute? Trust all women. I've Amber heard that before. Remember when that went all over social media? That meme. I've Amber heard that before. Yeah, exactly. I've Amber heard that before. That's why I don't trust all women. That brings us all. Look how we go full circle. That brings us all the way back to the Whatever podcast, where we're talking about hyper-feminism and why you can't trust all women and why you're not a sexist and a misogynist just because you refuse to believe Amber Heard when she cries crocodile tears on TV and says that she got molested and raped and sexually assaulted by Johnny Depp. Amber Heard. Oh my God. Disgusting. And I bet she still got simps too. Simps that love her too, don't they? Yeah, they do. They do. Bunch of freaking weirdos. Amber Heard is the proof that you could go from attractive to ugly overnight once people see what your soul actually looks like, right? Yeah, well, whatever. That brings us full back to the Whatever podcast. And yeah, I guess that's it. I'm going to go get something to eat, bro. I'm hungry. I guess we're done. We'll leave it right there. This is the Truth Rebellion, where we speak on any and all subjects, so long as we have a real, unfiltered, uncompromised, thoughtful opinion and discussion, where we say what we really think, because we don't bow, we don't bend, we don't break. We state our real exclusive opinions in all things, whether they be political, business, cultural, anything really, spiritual, religious, doesn't really matter. Everything that everybody else doesn't want to talk about, we do talk about, because we understand here at the Truth Rebellion that truth is the most important thing in the world. And why are you even alive if you're too afraid to say what you think? If you disagree with anything in the show, I would invite you to come on the show and debate. State your opinions. It doesn't have to be a debate. If you want to come on the show and just say how you think without a debate, we don't have to debate, but don't try to, or I'll get you. Or if you have a unique perspective about it and you want to change and you want to bring an idea to the conversation, which is always encouraged. I love learning new things about new people and finding different perspectives, because you never know what you're going to find. Or if you want to debate, come on the show and I'll eat you alive. Or if you think the same way, but you got another perspective to put in there that can really expand on it, well, that's cool too. This is the Truth Rebellion. Like, comment, share, subscribe, wherever podcasts are available. Truth Rebellion, hosted by yours truly, the GOAT, Joshua Gerald Michael Schutz. Sexiest man alive. And the reason why it's called a rebellion is because it's a rebellion. Because in a world where lies are law, truth is rebellion. We don't bow, we don't break, we speak what they silence. Facts. So I'll see you guys later. Peace out, guys. Oh, yeah. Appreciate all the love and support. Our numbers are growing. Subscribers are going up. Views are going up. Downloads are going up. Everything's going up. Great. We got some great guests that are coming on soon. Can't wait to make it happen. Love you. Bye-bye. Peace.